Tēnā koe te kai mā takitaki. Hello to the viewer. E te kai ahupunga to the physicist. Ngā mihi. Greetings, hello and welcome. Thank you for coming along. I'd like to look at moving on, expanding from individual words into some phrases, moving on from pronunciation into actually using some words and phrases, and finish with a little rap that is not the kinematic rap. Moving along here, I've just got to click a little button here to get things rolling. Looking back from last week, some of the physics-specific words that I mentioned, you might be able to drop into your work. Papatipu, taumaha, toa papa, tere, tere tanga, whakatere, and whakatere tanga. Those are the ones. I'll go back a little bit. Feel free at any stage to pause the video because I don't want to hold you up. You can stop where you feel like you want to. Moving on, kupu mahi. Well, this means working words, literally working words. In English, they're called verbs, and English teachers call them doing words. You probably well au fait with that. Te Reo has two ways of using them, plus a third that's more immediate, and I'll cover those a bit later. Here are some of the kupu mahi, which I'm just going to make myself a little laser pointer, a pretend laser pointer. These are some of the words in verbs in Te Reo down here, and I've got a couple here that are in English. And just working our way through them. As I said, you can pause your video when you feel like it, maybe at the end when I fill the slide up. So piki is to climb or to call on, come on, climb on like onto a marae. Homai, there's two types of pass in hand. One is to pass to the speaker. If you say to somebody, homai, that means you give it to me. And there's another one which I'll cover in about another minute and a half. Oma is to run. Whai is to chase or follow. There's other versions, but that's the most common one. Hikoi is to walk, and we also use it as a march or a protest march because it is actually just a walk. Mahi is to work, but it can also be used as a noun, as in the work. Now this is another one where the same word is used for the noun and the verb. Kai normally is associated with food, and if the kai is used as a verb, it means to eat. Keri is to dig. Waiata, again, like kai, could be a song if it's a noun, or to sing if it's a verb. This is the other one, pass hand, hoatu. So homai and hoatu, pass to somebody or pass somewhere. It's one of those situations where Māori's got more refinement and more nuance than English has. Pātai is a question, but it could also be used to question or to ask. Pānui is to read. It's also used as a notice, but to read is the notice put into a verb. In other words, you're examining a notice. Look, see, observe. Well, we've got kite, titiro, tiro, and even though there's three of each, English and Te Reo, it's not a respective situation. All three of each mean all three of the other. Speak, talk, say, kōrero. Noho normally is associated with to sit, but it also means to dwell. Ka noho ahau ki te tai tokoro. I live in Northland. I dwell in Northland. Hiki is to lift and to carry. Tunu is to cook, and whakaro is again another noun-verb correlation there, where whakaro is a thought, and as a verb it is whakaro as well, is to think. So that's probably a good place if you wish to pause that and take a screenshot or something. I don't mind, obviously. Moving along, there's my little marker. Here are some verbs, kupu mahi, kei roto I te ahupunga, that we use inside physics. Move, we do a lot of that. Accelerate, which we mentioned earlier. Stop, and there's two types of stop. And rotate, to glow, to fall from being upright. There's a different fall from this. That one is, I'm going to get onto that in a moment. So there's two types of fall. We'll look at these two. This is the first one, fall from being upright. And the second one is to fall from a height. Roll, displace, displacement. Well, that's actually a noun. I made an error there, I beg your pardon. And work, which I've already covered. Right, let's look at these. Neke. Neke is to move. Whakateri, you've already seen that. Stop is, now there's two here. Stop doing that is kati. But to stop is to whakatū. Whakatū means means to stand or be there. Whakatū means to make sure you stop doing what you're doing and stand there. Cause to stand. Rotate is huri or whakahuri, you can use both. Hana or hahana is to glow, and this is hinga, and this is makere. You might have come across makere in Puri Nei, a famous song by Hirini Melbourne. Roll is takahuri, and it's related to huri above. It is to roll, is to turn while being in touch with in contact with the ground. Displace is kōtiti, that is a famous little catchphrase, little kiwaha. Kōtiti haere means to go to be displaced, wander off. But the whakaneke means that if you're going to displace something, ka whakaneke te mea ki tera. So you move the thing from there to there. So whakaneke is probably the better one, but you might hear kōtiti. Displacement, I put that there even though it's a noun because it follows on quite nicely from the previous word. And nekinga is the business of being displaced, the business of being moved. And finally, work as a noun and as a verb is mahi. Now, looking back at what we just did a wee moment ago, I put these four up here. Working words, verbs, doing words. And I'd now like to look at the two different ways that they are used. There's two different ways that you can put together a verb. Te tai tokerau, where I live, uses e something ana. So, e tu ana, e hinga ana, e makere ana. Everywhere else, predominantly south of Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland, they use kei te. So, kei te tu, kei te hinga, kei te makere. An alternative and a more immediate version is ka. So, ka tu, ka hinga, ka makere. And finally, pa was an old word meaning to sing or to crack or to strike repeatedly. And it has been used and can be used to describe a rap. I'm not going to be doing the kinematic rap today because in the late noughties, I was challenged by one of my students, a nice young bloke called Maya. Hope he's doing well in this world. He said to me, he was in my physics class, and he said to me, Mr. Henderson, I've heard you speak Te Reo and I've heard you do a rap. He said, I've got a challenge for you. I'd like you to do a rap in Te Reo. And I thought, that's going to be tough. But I did it, and I made a promise and kept it, and I've got a link to a YouTube clip of me doing that in a staff meeting. It's in the description. Here's a screenshot from the staff meeting where I presented it, and that's not particularly dignified as a physics teacher, but I was having a blast, and my colleagues were all but laughter. You might see some of them laughing in it when you click on the video. So enjoy. Ka kite anō te whānau. I hope there's something in here for physicists who are interested in Te Reo, or Te Reo speakers who might be looking at a little bit of physics. Kia pai tō rā e hoa.